Hello YouTube, how you doing? I really wasn't gonna do this video, but this needs to be said, and I hope somebody sees this and really says, maybe she got a point, because I really do believe that people do listen to me and they come back and be like, you know what, Crystal, da 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 da. So I know I have a ministry, and I know that even my assistant principal said it. She's like, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Like, just in general. There's somebody out there that will hear me and will listen. I'm talking to my church people tonight. And I came home from work, took a shower, took a long nap. I was exhausted. I was falling asleep at work. I'm like, I think it's something in the food. I don't know what it is, but it might be something in the food. But I digress. But today I wanted to talk about church hurt. And for me personally, I don't really blame any particular church. I do go to church occasionally. The longest I ever went without going was a year. I was just really busy with work. My son, especially when my son was younger, balancing my life, work life, my son. And I don't think people realize that. Like, when you have children and you working, it's hard to wake up on a Sunday morning. It really is, because you have chores to do. People have to understand, when you have a child, even if it's just one, is you doing all the cooking, is you doing all the cleaning. There was a time when I had to do both laundries. That's a lot. I had to clean the whole house. I still clean the whole house by myself because I just let it slide with him. I let him do dishes, but there was a time when I did all of that myself. You think I have the energy to wake up on a Sunday morning? No. God bless those who do have the energy for that. But I always had Sundays to relax, and I would visit on occasion. And I still do that. My son is a little older, but that's my choice. A church that I used to attend, I'm not going to say the name because that's not my style, but it's just sad to watch them on YouTube and nothing has changed about them. They're still very vain. They still very, I wouldn't say money hungry, but they will make you feel bad if you don't have anything. And I just talking to my church people, y'all cannot do things and say things and expect people to come to y'all church. Now, this particular church, I was there from the ages of, I want to say 11 till 19. Once I got pregnant, I left. And it was funny because when me and my parents left, a lot of people followed. And they always had an issue with maintaining members. They get the people, but the people don't stay. And it's just funny how I was able to discern things as a little kid. And one of the former members, she was like, oh, this particular church was her foundation. I said, good for you. As far as I'm concerned, first of all, is no anointing. The pastor of the church used to brag about not having a high school diploma. I'm not saying you need to have a high school diploma to be a pastor, but you can't. For a person like me, you need to be educated. You need to know what you're talking about. Every time he got up on that pulpit, even till this day, the scriptures and stuff that he says is not true. So he didn't even go to Bible school to study the word. It's just somebody elected him. No, what happened was, somebody was supposed to be the pastor and they didn't want to do it and handed it to him. So that right there, he wasn't supposed to be the pastor, but he has been for over 40, 50 years. So for me, I stayed as a teenager because his son was a youth pastor and he made it fun. He was very fun. But a lot of things was going on there that wasn't right. Number one, they had one of the musicians, he played bass, and he had a ministry. He did the Sunday school. Do you know that they shut down the Sunday school for no reason? They stopped doing prayer. That's demonic. What church don't have prayer before service? They stopped the prayer. They stopped. This is long before COVID. This is long before I even had my son. And they stopped the Sunday school. So a lot of people stopped coming because I remember seeing people that would come to the Sunday school and not the service. And I didn't blame them because the Sunday school was more interesting. You had this particular guy that, he had an anointing. The pastor has no anointing, none whatsoever. Like first of all, he has a speech impediment that nobody caught on to. He stutters a lot. So for me, that was distracting and annoying. He lacks education and doesn't know what he's talking about as far as the scriptures. Like this is not 1950 where it's appealing to be uneducated and it's like whatever. Even back then, you gotta have charisma. This particular pastor has no charisma. He's very boring. His speech impediment is bad. It improved over the years, but back then it was really, really bad. And I'm like, I never said anything, but I'm like, why nobody say nothing about this man's stuttering problem? Like, how you a pastor and you stuttering? Like, what? So I couldn't even understand that. And then like, no high school diploma. He never went to Bible school, but he was a pastor. So I didn't understand that. And then my mother, she used to do solos and they stopped her from doing solos because she went 10 minutes overtime. This particular church was very strict on time. Very, very strict. Very, very strict. And I'll never forget the person in charge of the music ministry didn't let her do no solos no more. Like, that's discouraging. And then I remember being young, like 12, 13, overhearing conversations of, not even conversations, but they would say it like, oh, if you can't sing, you can't join the choir or do this or do that. All these years, 20 years later, and I go on YouTube and they still saying that. Why would you say that? This is not Showtime at the Apollo. Now, I was in the choir or whatever, and we could sing, but I don't feel like that's right to say that to someone. And then my mother, she could sing, but because she went 10 minutes over the time and was telling her testimony like you should, they was upset by that and sat her down. Very weird, strange church, and it's just sad to see that so many years later they still ain't got no members, and y'all are not learning why y'all don't have no members. And the reason why I'm bringing up this particular church is it's a lot of churches. It's not just one church. A lot of y'all wonder why people don't come to church consistently is because people are human and y'all have bad attitudes. It's not even because people are anti-Christ. Why are people anti-Christ and anti-God? Because y'all are anti-human. Y'all are anti-compassion. So every action has a reaction. People are not coming to church because y'all are mean. Y'all are mean. You don't do that to people. And I'm watching the YouTube channel and I'm like, did she really just say that? Oh, if you can't sing, don't be coming up here, da-da-da. Then they start talking about money. Why is that the Catholic Church, right? They don't never ask for money, but people always donate. Why y'all think that? Like, if I had a church, I would be like the Catholic Church or like Brooklyn Tabernacle. They non-denominational. They don't say anything about money. They just pass the bucket around and they make their money like that. Stop asking and maybe people will give. That's just like my father's church where he goes. Shout out to Brown Memorial. They never, ever ask people for money. Never. They'll do it once in a blue, but they do it out of love. Like, yo, da-da-da-da-da. They never, ever make you feel guilty for not having it, right? And this is a Baptist church, and I think it might be a culture thing, but this is why Pentecostal churches, y'all don't thrive. Because y'all constantly asking for money, y'all constantly putting people down, and that's a turnoff. I'm keeping it real. That's why I'm like, let me make a public service announcement. So change the trajectory, change how y'all talk to people, change how y'all treat people, and then maybe people will start coming. Stop asking for money. Y'all look broke because y'all saying, oh, well, y'all looking cute with y'all wigs and stuff. First of all, a lot of people use credit cards for a lot of things that they have. right? You don't know if that person's in a shelter, they live with their mama. Stop making an assumption that people got money. That's first of all. Because there's plenty of people who think I got money. I work, but I ain't rich, right? Because I know how to keep myself up. That's a part of being black too. We know how to flex, if you will. But yeah, seriously, let's keep each other in prayer and let's try to be real Christians. A real Christian is not going to care about somebody's pocket. A real Christian is not going to discourage someone. I'll never forget when people was coming to Sunday school and when it got too popular, they stopped it. That's jealousy. And it's only in the black church. Only in the black church. You know, they stop the prayer, they stop this, they stop that. When something's working, they'll stop it because all the glory gotta go to that pastor. Get over yourself. And maybe your church will grow. You know, so people don't know how to be happy for people. People be haters and stuff. But it's time to look at yourselves. Stop looking at people like, oh, they heathens and this. Look at yourself and examine yourself first. He who hath no sin, you throw the first stone. Right? Why are millennials, they had a statistic that why are millennials the ones who don't go to church the most? Right? It's because of the hypocrisy that we see. You know, how people get treated. People are human. If you treat somebody like garbage, they're gonna leave. You know, if you do stuff, you sitting them down, you know, they didn't even do anything. You know, it's a hot mess. It really is. Y'all are a hot mess out there. And people watching y'all and seeing y'all. And nobody's perfect. I'm not saying you gotta be perfect, but be an example. You know, be an example for people. You know, try to do things differently. And those are my thoughts.